in a bazillion-dollar industry. It just don't work.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to tearing them down next, actually. But I wanted to take a look at a debate that we had heading into this season versus looking forward. Everybody thought that the wide receiver pick should have been Marvin Harrison Jr., which we didn't do. Obviously, we chose Caleb, but we did come up with a surprise pick with Rome Odunze. What do you guys think? Did the Bears win or lose at that wide receiver position? Drew, go ahead.
I think with Rome, you're talking, right?
Yeah.
I like the pick. I think maybe offensive lineman would have been a better fit, but I think Rome Odunze, I think he's going to turn out to be good. I think, Caleb had some struggles because of offensive line and just, his rookie struggles learning the league. But I think he's going to be a star receiver for sure, in my eyes.
Kelly, what do you think?
So yeah, I mean, obviously, if the Bears won or lose, I don't think they had a chance to get Harrison because it was always going to be Caleb. So, and Odunze falling into our lap, I think Atlanta was projected to get him, and they went the opposite, grabbed a quarterback. So, and in terms of like, if you're going to ask me who's going to have a better career, I mean, that's obviously, future will tell that. Harrison had a pretty good year with Arizona, but he was the number one there. I know his dad's an amazing player, one of my all-time favorites. But I think Odunze, with everything going on in Chicago, he had a decent showing. I think he's definitely got talent. So I think the Bears win with this wide receiver. But time will tell.
So I agree. I think I pulled up some stats here when I was looking into this because, obviously this original graphic, it shows that Harrison had a better year, but against circumstances, right?
And
Kyle Murray, yeah, only slightly. But you could see Kyle Murray greatly had a better year than Caleb. But we all know that Caleb had double the sacks.
To that point, again, Kyler Murray had his most efficient year because he had a strong run game. He had the best rushing attack in the NFC West. In a division with Kyron Williams in there, in a division with Christian McCaffrey, although injured a lot this year, Arizona far and away had the best run game in almost every statistical category in the NFC West. So again,
wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. Wow.
100%. Drew Petzing, as the offensive coordinator for Arizona, built a just smash mouth slobber knocker run game with, James Conner and a bunch of ragtag waiver claims. Again, injuries, makeshift offensive line. So Kyler Murray's season largely has to be attributed to, just like we did with Josh Allen, with James Cook, just like we did with Lamar Jackson, with Derrick Henry. It largely needs to be attributed to the efficiency and the balance of the offense that Drew Petzing created as the offensive coordinator there.
Yeah, the Bears, obviously Caleb struggled getting passes off, but clearly Rome did not struggle with his end. When he was targeted, he was largely better than Harrison in catches versus targets, in my opinion. And
here's the thing with Rome is, okay, Caleb getting passes off. Number one, if you're talking about time to throw, his time to throw sucked. Well, it didn't suck. It was 3.1. It still wasn't bad. But a lot of times it was because he was trying to play hero ball and he was moving around with the ball. When Caleb Williams threw from the pocket, his time to throw was one of the best in the league. Now, Rome Odunze, don't get me wrong. I love Rome Odunze, and I think he had a really solid rookie year considering he was the third target most days in that offense. But Rome Odunze has a lot of polishing that needs to get done because he dropped a lot of catchable balls, and it took him like a good
half the season to even show up.
More than half the season to understand the offense, right? He wasn't running the correct routes all the time. And for the love of me, I can't understand why, and this is why he lost his job. But Shane Waldron's entire offense was built around options, sit routes, option routes, where it was basically you go to the line of scrimmage with 2 or 3 plays, Caleb Williams reads the line of scrimmage. Then Caleb Williams decides, based on what he sees through the defense, what the options on those routes are going to be. And then it is incumbent on the wide receiver to understand and see his vision and execute it the same way and run the correct option on the route based on how he sees and what he calls in the line of scrimmage. That was a lot to ask of a pair of rookies, and it didn't work out well for a very long time, and it really stunted both of them statistically this year. You know, that's the type of offense that Bill Belichick was running with Tom Brady in New England.
Exactly. And like Peyton Manning, where he'd come up to the line and, you know, he's basically running a pro-style NFL offense, which when I say that, people get confused. They're like, well, everything's a pro-style NFL offense. But go look at Washington and how they simplified things for Daniels.
They chopped the field in half.
Yeah.
Kingsbury ran a very, rookie quarterback-friendly offense where a lot of everything was to one side of the field. It reduced the amount of options that Jaden Daniels had to make or decisions that Jaden Daniels had to make. And, I mean, it's a fact. Like, look, Shane Waldron started his coaching career under Charlie Weiss, who was a Bill Belichick offensive coordinator. He was at Notre Dame. That's where he crossed paths with Waldron very early in Waldron's career. Waldron loved that offensive concept that Weiss had taken from Belichick, and Waldron took it with him over to McVay.
Yeah,
and he comes over here to the Bears and he implements an offense that's just far too complicated for where they were at. Now, it was also far too complicated because he didn't hold those guys nearly accountable enough from the get-go.
Yeah.
When he was fired, everybody was quick to say how, all the way back to OTAs in April, he wasn't holding guys accountable for not being where they should be, not doing what they should be doing, not having a firm enough understanding of the offense.
Yeah.
So, he fucked himself. Like he from the get-go.
Which is ridiculous to think about, right? Like in an NFL league, like it's just, come on, man. This whole Bears season was such a debacle, and it was so avoidable if you just had some competent people at head coach and at offensive coordinator, just competence. Just, hey, you know what? I know the game. Hey, call a timeout here. Don't let them get 15 yards here. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Just little things, and I hear a lot of, and I don't want to keep bouncing around here, but I did hear, you mentioned it earlier, Caleb had plenty of time in the pocket to make a throw. A lot of those sacks was because he held on to the ball way too long. And my whole thing is yes, we do need an offensive line, no doubt about it, right? We need some upgrades there. But if you look around the league, not too many teams have a good offensive line, right? I mean, the offensive line is just really not like a strength in the NFL right now. I mean, sure, yeah,
right. You're right about that. There's not enough. There's not enough top tier like elite offensive linemen to go around.
But
if you look at the all pro teams every year and you look at the Pro Bowl teams every year and you look at the offensive line for the AFC and the NFC, it's the same names every year.
Yep.
Your Penei Sewell, your Tristan Wirfs, your Creed Humphreys. It's the same dudes winning all pro honors every year along the offensive line.
Yeah.
There's no parity. You got your upper echelon of offensive linemen and then everybody else.
Right.
Even though that is a fact, the offensive line rankings are still 17th in the league for the Bears and 7th for the Cardinals. It's definitely allows.
There's a difference
that's another
between
aspect.
competent offensive line play and elite offensive line play, and I think that's more what Kelly was referring to.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just trying to say the Bears, and then you just said 17th. There's 32 teams in the league. We're middle of the pack. It's not the worst offensive line in the world. It's definitely a weakness on the team. But I think my point is I think the weakness of the team was the coaching and the staff.
Not a doubt. Best described, right? The biggest glaring weakness was 100%.
So, one last thing I'll add for Odunze before we start attacking the Bears from top down is that the Cardinals pretty much put all their stats on Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride, whereas Caleb, because he was fine, obviously he was finding his mojo. You could see he had 6 receivers that were all spread out more than the top 4 receivers of the Cardinals. So even though Harrison had 150 more receiving yards, you have to consider the fact that with if you take DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and all these other receivers that were putting up Harrison numbers, that's still an impressive amount of numbers that
For sure.
Odunze was able to achieve.
You don't even have to take out DJ and Keenan. Take out Gerald Everett and Mercedes Lewis and Travis Homer. Take out all these non-offensive weapon goofballs that were getting targets in that Shane Waldron offense. It goes back to the efficiency of the offensive coordinator. So to Kelly's point, the coaching staff was the biggest problem.
Yeah.
You know, you can have Odunze, you can have Keenan Allen, you can have DJ Moore, and you can have Cole Kmet, who was also missing in action all year. You can have four solid pass catching targets, and it still work out for all of them if the offensive coordinator understands how to get the football into their hands.
I'm looking at the stats. I'm seeing Kmet had 47 catches. I'm surprised he even had that.
I'm surprised he had 47 targets, bro. I mean,
no, it's receptions.
Oh no, right. Yeah, 47.
Surprised he was even targeted 47 times.
I'm surprised he was targeted 47 times.
Because I swear there was like an 8-game stretch where I didn't even see him get a catch.
No, really, he picked up after
Waldron. London.
Yeah.
When they came back from London for like the next 2 months, I felt like he got 4 targets.
Yeah. What the fuck, man? And we're paying this guy. He's a good tight end. I mean, I feel like
that. I mean, 55 targets all season, got 47 receptions.
Well, that's the thing. Cole Kmet's catch rate is insane, and it always has been.
Yeah.
He's a plus 93, 4, 5% catch rate guy. Like, so just throw him the fucking football.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
So, in short, clearly it's a little early to or is it a little early to make this decision considering the Bears' problems? Or do you guys have a decision whether the Bears won or lost?
I think you can't fairly evaluate Odunze until the new coaching staff is in place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's too early.
I agree. I think it's way too early.
I agree. So we're all
I think the same thing. That's why I think it's too early for people to say we made the wrong pick, picking Caleb Williams.